Hey guys, what's up? You're watching Up and Adam. My name's Adam Newell. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm the guy bringing you guys all the weekly interviews and recaps from your favorite celebrities and pop culture influencers. Now, of course, today is no different. Today, we have so much going on. We are recapping the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills with Emily D. Baker and Down with Jason. And we're also here to talk about Erika sharing this burglary story. This is so much to digest. But before we do, we also have to jump in on the fact that Ronald Richards is chiming in when it comes to everyone asking, why aren't you going after the mistresses? Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. Guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. Now with that, let's jump right in.
It's time for all your binge-worthy pop culture news. Welcome to Up and Adam.
All right, guys, so we know that Erika and Ronald Richards have been going back and forth in an ongoing Twitter feud, and this is the Twitter feud that never ends. It's jab over here, jab over here. It just keeps going back and forth, and honestly, they both have a right to freedom of speech. They can say whatever they want, but it's keeping the Twitter sphere in just, I guess, suspense, chaos. I don't even know what to call this anymore. It is the never-ending story, never-ending saga. But also, we're hearing that one of the mistresses that Erika outed through the text messages, we know her as the Justice. I don't need to say her name on here, but we know her. We've heard that she's retired ever since these text messages came out from Erika. We know that she posted them, and then a few hours later she retracted these. She took them off of social media, and we heard that she got into a lot of trouble, a lot of flack for this. So we're going to break it all down. Here's what's being said. Now, there was a question from the real Andy of Beverly Hills, and we've had him on before. Love that guy. He's always doing whatever he needs to do to get stories out, and we've had conversations. He even said that he started his channel because of me. So, Andy, we're sending all of the love your way, and honestly, congratulations on all of your success. But he asked Ronald Richards a very important question, and he wants to know, hey, Ronald, will you also be investigating Thomas's mistresses? The attorney, though, however, Ronald Richards, confirmed that he has no current plans to look into any potential funds that went to the mistress's way. Ronald tweeted back and said, that's a great question, Andy, but we're not authorized to go after anybody else except for Erika. Erika is number one. He also added to that number two, there's no evidence that Tom gave any money to a mistress, certainly not 25 million. Our appointment is just for Erika. Yeah, well, everyone tried. They tried to be like, look over here, go after the mistresses and maybe take the heat off of Erika. Doesn't look like that's happening. Now, Andy did also question, who would have to authorize the potential investigation into the finances of any alleged mistresses, which Ronald said the trustee would have to file a motion before adding that there's no attorney interested in going after a mistress because there's no evidence. This is what Ronald's saying. There's no evidence that any mistress received a substantial amount of money. Okay, it keeps going. Now, speaking of the Justice, from what Radar Online is saying is that she retired just mere months after Erika outed her on social media. Was it because Erika outed her? We don't have that confirmation. Or was it because she was already on the plan to be retired anyways? Could it have been that she was going to work and now her whole life, her job is being made a mockery of? After those text messages were insane. So it could easily be either side. It could be that she was embarrassed and this just made her not look the best in her workplace, or it could be that, hey, she was already on the path to retire, so we're reaching. Now, if you guys didn't catch that post, it said, it was captioned with a bunch of different text messages and photos of, from what we're seeing, allegedly the Justice laying on the bed, like holding her hand on her head like this, and then a photo of somebody's bottom. Erika captioned it like this. This is Justice, said her name. She was effing my husband, Tom Girardi, and he was paying her Saks bill and also for her plastic surgery. Yeah, this sent social media into, it was like haywire. Following the post from Erika, we obviously know that the Justice's attorney, Alan Jackson, told LA Times that the reality star's actions in maliciously doxing the Justice were nothing short of criminal. I don't even know why you would want to add more to your plate. And if you're so well versed in this whole legal realm, this whole world, especially after being married to Tom for so long, how could you not know that doxing someone would be a bad thing? I mean, I'm trying to wrap my head around that. Okay, I'll keep it moving. Her attorney added at the time that we are considering our options to protect the justice from further harassment. However, we never really heard anything else. There was no additional claims that came out or anything that came from this legal threat. Although the justice has officially hung up her robe after being appointed by, at the time, Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger in 2008, it's unclear still, like I said, as to whether or not Erika's post was part of the reason that she ended up retiring. But from what we're hearing, she is now reportedly working as a private mediator. I don't know if that's a step up or a step down. That's another question. I'll have to ask Emily D. Baker today, but I don't know if stepping down from a justice to a private mediator, well, I don't know if it's stepping up to a private mediator. I'm not sure. We need to ask somebody in the legal realm and make this all make sense, because as of right now, it's not. Back to Erika and Ronald Richards' ongoing feud that never stops. One woman actually asked, Erika, God, what has happened now? Watching you and Ronald Richards going for each other on Twitter is really starting to leave a bad taste in my mouth. Remember what is important here. All caps, the victims. We've said that since day one, and Erika responded, nah, ... It's the fees. Always the fees plus costs. If you guys watched last night's episode, you saw where Erika Girardi was kind of being scrutinized a little bit by PK, Dorit Kemsley's husband, because he was saying if he were in this situation, which he did admit at one point, he was in an intense legal situation with almost $1 billion worth of money that had to be owed. So I don't actually know the logistics of it, so I'm not even going to speak on it. But he said when he was being scrutinized, he had to kind of change the way people looked at him. And he doesn't necessarily agree with Erika posting some of these more risque photos. He doesn't agree with it. And he's like, what are you doing? Well, that hasn't stopped her, because her most recent Instagram photo is her laying there covered up with her hands in her body, but no clothes on. And then there's another photo of her leaning up against, I don't even know what this is, leaning up against like a ledge with her Louboutins, and it looks like maybe a one-piece suit. I'm not quite sure. Fans are criticizing the hell out of her. They're like, are you kidding me? This is so tone deaf. I'm reading the comments and people are like, you need to sell those shoes and give that money back to the victims. And then other fans are going on and they're like, look at my life, right? Doesn't look like it's so bad. Eesh. Well, one of the things that we're going to get to on next week's episode, which is so important because we've heard about this and we've been trying to connect the dots for so long, is this burglary that happened. So if you guys don't remember the sequence of events, and I don't know how you couldn't because we've covered them, Erika Girardi filed for divorce. Tom Girardi, all of these allegations were coming out of embezzlement. Okay, keeps playing out. Then he gets a conservatorship because he's diagnosed with Alzheimer's and late onset dementia. And then after that, they find out that all of their assets are being liquidated, from what we're hearing, being liquidated, and they'll eventually have to sell the house. And then the house is burglarized. Well, we haven't heard about this from Erika, but we got a sneak peek of next week's episode, and she's sharing it with Kyle Richards. Fans are going nuts about this too. This is what Erika said. Tom's house was broken into, and then he confronted the burglar and then had to go have eye surgery. And then my son had to go help over to his house, go over and help him, and then rolled his car on the way home 5 times. Yeah, I'm under a lot of stress. Now, what's unclear here is, was it her son who rolled his car, or was it Tom Girardi who was in another car accident? We don't actually know the answers of that until next week's episode, but this is a lot to digest. And it looks like from the preview of next week's episode, Dorit's husband, PK, is continuing to be vocal about Erika Girardi's situation. Dorit, in this scene, says to PK, what you're suggesting then is that Erika's not telling the truth. PK said, no, I'm suggesting that she's been in a controlling marriage for 20 years and that she's still being controlled. To which Maurizio responded, because you could tell they were on a double date, Dorit, PK, Kyle, and Maurizio. And Maurizio said, there's lies all over the place. Okay. All right, guys, we're going to have to wait to see how this plays out, but I have a lot of questions for you guys. One, what do you think about the justice retiring? Two, how do you feel about the backlash over the risque photos? And well, no, actually a few more. Three, the mistresses not being investigated. Do you think that's fair or not fair? And then also Erika's statement in the upcoming episode about Tom confronting the burglar and then having to get eye surgery. Please give me your thoughts. I'm so curious. I know I have my own, but I don't want to just give you my opinions. I want to hear what your opinions are. And then maybe down the line, you'll hear what I have to say. All right, guys, you know what to do. If you haven't already, go ahead, comment below. And before you go, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell because, well, you don't want to miss anything we have coming up. Now with that, we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.